Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Type V3, and yes, I too partook in the Force Friday festivities, with my sole acquisition being this, the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch First Order Stormtrooper, the classic space cannon fodder as they've been reimagined for The Force Awakens. Before I evaluate the figure properly, I think I'll start by mentioning that I absolutely love the Episode 7 Stormtrooper design, far more than the original even. It's sleeker, a touch more minimal, and carries a helmet that's right up my alley. This action figure pretty much delivers on translating that look into a compact plastic display. Proportionally, things are on point, the general sculpt is accurate, and I like the combination of glossy white plastic and flat black paint apps. Outside of that, there isn't much else to comment on. This is an awesome representation of the First Order Stormtrooper. However, there are a couple blemishes on the figure I should point out. Most notable of these are spots of mold flash, or technically, the gouges in the plastic that formed from deflashing the white pieces. There's not many, but they're very noticeable and unappealing, literally serving as this figure's chink in the armor. The other issue is the crispness of the black paint apps, specifically on the edges. It's a minor issue though. Now, to be fair, these defects are par for the course when it comes to your average mass retail toy, so I'm not really disappointed by them. As the name of the figure would suggest, the First Order Stormtrooper stands at the 6-inch mark. It should scale comfortably with any other 6-inch focused toy line developed by Hasbro. For articulation, the Stormtrooper has a ball hinge for the neck, so you can go side to side. No real tilting action going on. I mean, you get some slight tilting action. Looking down is about that much. Looking up is about that much. I wish it was a little bit more, but the helmet really does restrict a lot of things. In the torso, you don't have a waist joint. Absolutely nothing there. But you do have a mid-torso joint. It's a bottom ball joint, and it's awesome. Look how much you can roll that. It's pretty good. And yeah, I really like it. The only other thing I'll say is I'm surprised this toy doesn't have the butterfly cutouts for the arm joints, especially seeing as the armor kind of perfectly is molded to utilize them, but I guess they just didn't put that in for whatever reason. Alright, for the arms, you're looking at your standard ball hinge at the shoulder, so forwards is good. I was surprised how great outwards was because the top of the shoulder pad actually can tuck inside the torso arm so that it can just come out all the way. And it's pretty impressive. Otherwise, it doesn't really roll around anywhere else. There is no bicep swivel. What you have instead is a hinge and a swivel or a ball hinge elbow basically. And so that's going to serve as your main point of movement there. The one problem is this elbow joint's actual range of articulation. Here it is, just stretched out, and the amount of bend you get is about that, and that's super disappointing. I don't know why or how this happened or how it was overlooked, and it's not just because it's a single hinge. If you look here, it's actually all sculpted correctly, right? Like, there's a space, a proper cavity for a elbow joint, but the joint is actually placed on the side of the armor. So what happens is this armor piece here hits up with the lower bicep, and that's what becomes the limiting factor right there. This is basically the main point of contact, and it's just really disappointing. I mean, I know I can be a bit of an articulation snob, but that kind of that's unacceptable. The wrist itself is a ball hinge, so you can get some pretty decent range, and both hands are slightly different. One is a trigger finger hand, and the other one is just sort of like this semi-trigger finger hand. I don't really know what's going on with this hand. For the lower half of the body, first things first, this belt section here, it's sort of soft plastic, so you can sort of move it out of the way, but it is pretty stiff. On the backside, this section here is the same sort of material. The hips themselves are just universal joints, so they can go forward. Again, a little limited by the belt here. Outward, really limited. I mean, this is the most you're going to get outwards. There is a thigh swivel, and it's pretty well hidden. I mean, you don't even notice it's in action. You do get double jointed knees, which are cool. And the ankles are the ball hinge, so they go down. There's no real swivel. Instead, you have the combination ankle tilt, so that's basically what you're going to use. It's kind of overkill if you ask me to have an ankle tilt this deep and these thigh swivels and double jointed knees, just because you're never going to get his actual hip to come out further than that to really utilize them, but hey, that's just me. Articulation on the Stormtrooper is pretty good, but those elbows are such a letdown. I would have rather taken single-jointed elbows for double-jointed knees on this figure. For accessories, the Stormtrooper has a small loadout of weapons. There's one blaster and one handgun. I was surprised to see that both are fully painted and excellently done at that. Both also have a built-in tab so that you can store either on the toy's right leg. The figure can hold each gun well enough with one hand. However, don't even bother trying to dual-hand the blaster, because he can't. Well, let me rephrase that. He can't dual-hand the blaster in any usable or realistic manner. Otherwise, it's fine. The Star Wars Black Series 6-inch First Order Stormtrooper is a good representation of the character and serves as a decent action figure. Like I said before, I love this redesign and that alone is enough for me to enjoy it. Accessories are thin, yet they possess a nice finish and the storage option is welcome. It's a cool toy that fans should like. Still, there's no getting around the limited elbows when it comes to actually playing with the toy. I hate to dwell on the issue, it's just I can't understand why arm articulation wasn't prioritized more, because, let's face it, most of us are gonna end up displaying the Stormtrooper with pin-straight legs behind a commanding officer. Or, at the very least, I doubt many need their Stormtroopers doing wild leg acrobatics, rider kicks, or even yoga poses. Anyways, I've gone on long enough. The 6-inch First Order Stormtrooper may not be the best Stormtrooper, yet it offers plenty of fun. But that's all for me. Thanks for watching, and who knows if the Force Awakens coverage will continue. It all depends if I can get my hands on one of those silver tins.